Undiscovered Primary Inc. Day 85 of the Iran War. Trump's envoy to Greenland gave an interview this week that I want to walk through because it connects three things that may look unrelated on the surface. Ken Howery, the special envoy to Greenland, who is a Silicon Valley venture capitalist, told reporters that Greenland's oil and natural gas resource represent, quote, the answer, unquote, to the Hormuz energy crisis. His argument is that the Arctic holds vast untapped hydrocarbon reserves. If the U.S. acquires Greenland or secures access to Greenlandic resources through whatever arrangement, it provides an alternative energy supply that makes the Strait of Hormuz strategically less divisive if we're to ignore the whole GI-UK gap. Less decisive. So that's the framing. We don't need Hormuz, but if we have the Arctic, the oil of the Arctic rather, Hormuz matters less. And let me tell you what's actually in Greenland's Arctic in terms of hydrocarbons, and then I'll tell you why this argument is actually less coherent than it sounds. The US Geological Survey has basically estimated that the areas that are north of the Arctic Circle contain 90 billion barrels of undiscovered oil, about 1.7 trillion cubic feet of undiscovered nat gas, and 44 billion barrels of natural gas liquids. These are basically geological estimates. They're not proven reserves. They're not accessible. They're not connected to any existing pipeline, refinery, or other infrastructure. The extraction costs in Arctic conditions, moreover, are the highest on Earth, and the timeline from discovery to production for any Arctic offshore, it's going to be measured in decades. The Hormuz crisis is happening now. Arctic oil is 2040 or 2050 at the earliest, under the most optimistic of scenarios. And why this matters beyond the absurdity of the timeline argument is the Greenland pitch, Arctic oil as a Hormuz alternative, is actually the clearest articulation yet of what the Trump administration actually wants Greenland for, or the most opaque, transparent version, in other words. It's not strategic military positioning in the Arctic, although the GI-UK gap and the SIGINT up there is part of it. It's not research through the US Geological Survey. Surveys are real. It's really energy independence for the Middle East, or more specifically, energy leverage that dampens the cost of Middle Eastern conflicts in a similar way to the Venezuelan play. If you control Arctic energy resources at scale, the USGS projects, you can afford to close the Strait of Hormuz. You cannot give a shit. The economic shock that basically makes the Iran war politically unsustainable, the gas prices, the supply disruptions, the inflation, theoretically becomes more manageable if you're assuming that demand stays locked in. And that seems to be the actual strategic logic of the Greenland acquisition push, and Trump's envoy said it out loud. Kevin Eskin for Brand Inc. Interesting time.